Hello there guys, what is going on? Son of Chelsea back here again for another video. Hope you're all doing well and keeping safe on this Saturday. Today going to be talking about some Chelsea transfer news. Firstly, Coulibaly, the Napoli defender, being linked to Stamford Bridge, and a swap deal between Chelsea and Juventus. But before we get into any of that, I want to ask you guys, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and a notification bell so you never miss an upload. Also hit that like button if you're enjoying the content, because it helps out the videos as well. But let's get into it firstly with the centre-back from Napoli, Coulibaly. He is being linked to Chelsea once again by Italian journalist Massimo Brambati. I've probably mispronounced his second name, so apologies. 28-year-old defender. We know all about Coulibaly. He's one of the highest rated centre-backs in European football, and for good reason. And it's interesting for me with Coulibaly because I remember just before Antonio Conte took over at Chelsea in 2016, we were being linked heavily with Coulibaly back then to come to Chelsea as a big summer signing. Of course, it didn't happen. Sort of all the rumours sort of faded back then when it looked like that deal could have been made a reality, really, and it would have made a really incredible summer when you think about it, of Kante coming in that summer as well, David Luiz returning. I believe David Luiz was on deadline day sort of the eventual centre-back we got, if you think about it, and how that all turned out. But Coulibaly, he's 28 years old, so he's very much slap bang in the prime of his career. And yes, we talk a lot about age and wanting to see younger players and bringing them in and hoping they turn out to be great players later on in their career. But at the same time, in that problem area for Lampard and for Chelsea currently about centre-backs, you do think if there was one name I was to go, he can be a transformative player. He can come in, add that certainty, add that decisiveness and strength and quality to that area. I think Coulibaly is the name that goes top of my list. How reliable this source is, I'm not entirely sure. Coulibaly's name really hasn't been mentioned a lot when we talk about Chelsea transfers. This is the first time I've talked about him, especially in the channel, in recent months, in truth. But when you're talking about the problem area, we know Ethan Ampadu can come back and play in that area. And what is the best centre-back combination? Antonio Rudiger, Kurt Zouma, Christensen, Tomori. Could Frank Lampard find a good combination between that defence and the current defenders we have? Could he sort it out that way? Yes, of course he could, if we aren't to sign a centre-back this summer. But if Chelsea were just really serious and just go out there and spend a lot of money to inject into that area and for a bit of certainty, I think Coulibaly for me is top of that list. I think it is. And when you're looking at centre-backs across Europe, I think there aren't many in truth that come straight to mind that I go, yes, that player could come in right now. Players that would improve on our centre-backs. I think our centre-backs aren't awful. I've never believed that. I think there's centre-backs in our ranks who on their day can be brilliant, but I think there's just that uncertainty, flaws within their games, attributes that need to be improved on. We just need a fresh face within there. And could Chelsea spend that amount of money on Coulibaly? It's been linked for so long about Coulibaly leaving Napoli. And in terms of being clearly ahead of the competition, I just wonder how legitimate these talks are. There's been so much noise recently about Chelsea being linked to players, and in truth of what I believe and the sources that I trust, I think it would have to go a long way. You'd have to start hearing Matt Law talk about it, Nazar Kinsella, Simon Johnson, Liam Toomey, guys like that. I think if noise about Coulibaly ramped up, then I could believe it. But sometimes transfers, they come out of nowhere. And this would be an incredible one for sure if Chelsea were to get him. But it would be, I think, a very high fee. You're talking 70 to 80 million in my opinion. Even maybe a little bit below that, but I think Chelsea would have to pay a record fee close to sign Coulibaly from Napoli, because he is that good of a player and he would be that big and transformative to Chelsea. But let me know your opinions on Coulibaly. I'm pretty sure it's going to be mostly positive. But do you think this deal is realistic? Do you think Chelsea will go out there this summer and try and sign a massive centre-back like Coulibaly? Let me know in the comments below. And next is this rumoured swap deal between Chelsea and Juventus for Emerson going to Juventus and Alex Sandro coming to Chelsea. And Marzio gave some quotes. Now, it comes from sort of the same interview that I took from for Dres Mertens yesterday. So he spoke about Emerson and Alex Sandro that I haven't spoken about yet on the channel. So let me give you his quotes before we get into it. They have two very good left backs, one who is very, very good, and that is Emerson, and the other being Marcos Alonso. It depends a lot on Emerson. In January, Inter asked for Alonso and Emerson. They asked for around 45 million to sell one of the two players. They consider these players important to Chelsea. It depends on some possible swap deals which could have been done with Inter and Juventus. For example, Emerson for Juventus' Alex Sandro. Chelsea can find another left-sided player, but through a swap deal. Otherwise, Chelsea will keep Emerson and Alonso. And considering who Marzio is, these are really interesting quotes in truth of potential swap deals. We don't see a lot of swap deals. They rarely actually happen in truth. Maybe post-pandemic, maybe post all this situation, we see more swap deals happening. And this could be an interesting one. But when I look at Alex Sandro's age, and age is something that's going to come in here, because I think that Sandro, a bit like Coulibaly, I believe it was the summer after 2017 when Chelsea were rumoured pretty much all summer with Alex Sandro. We thought potentially that was going to be the big deal that summer, and it never happened. Talks never really apparently got going. Chelsea never really went in that seriously for Sandro, and we didn't get the player. And that's been a source of frustration. And now, a couple of years down the line, we have to now replace that area. It's the biggest position for Chelsea to fill this summer. I think it would have been a brilliant signing for Conte at the time, and especially in that 2017 summer transfer window, definitely would have boosted it in what was, in the end, a very disappointing window for Chelsea. But I just think this player is probably past where he should be. I think Chelsea, for left back, because it is an area we need to refresh, I think you should be looking for at least maybe a 27-year-old in Alex Telles. But personally, for me, I think 23, 24, that sort of player, I think, to hopefully get us settled in that area for a number of years. And that's why Chelsea apparently want Ben Chilwell. Why I believe that Alex Gramado, I think, would be an amazing option in that area. And I just think maybe Sandro, it's a little bit too late now in terms of getting that player. And for me, bringing in Sandro and replacing Emerson, for me, it's saw an improvement, but not that much. I have to be honest, in my personal opinion, I don't think it's that much of an upgrade. I think you're sort of just replacing almost like for like in terms of age, and in terms of quality. I think, you know, keeping Marcos Alonso, we know what Marcos Alonso can give you, even with the flaws in his game. Even Emerson, I think. Instead, I think the likes of Ben Chilwell, the likes of Alex Telles, for me, are much more realistic, and I think will be much more beneficial to Chelsea. We've spoken a lot about left backs, and I think that Alex Sandro, for me, I think is just past probably where he could have been. I'm not saying he's past his best. I think, you know, he still is a very impressive player, but I'm just saying if you're going to invest in a player and really refresh that area and really inject that area with what it needs, I don't think Sandro is, for me, top of the list. I don't think it's a priority. Please let me know your opinions on Alex Sandro. Do you disagree with me? Do you still think even at his age, Alex Sandro can still be an amazing signing for Chelsea at left back and be the answer we need? Please let me know in the comments below. But that is it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch it. If you did enjoy it, hit that subscribe button and a notification bell so you never miss an upload. Follow me on Twitter at Son of Chelsea, and I'll see you again.